This is Tackle Talk Live, an inside scoop on how, when, and where to catch bass, with a primary focus on Toledo Bend and Sam Rayburn. Interviews with anglers who are consistent winners on the tournament trail. Your hosts, Camus Boats Pro staffer Steve Graff and Gill Fishing accounts manager Kevin Jean. Two anglers who understand bass fishing with tournament success on all levels. Anglers willing to share their knowledge to help you become a better fisherman. So sit up and pay close attention as they give detailed tournament information and results. Here are the hosts of Tackle Talk Live, Steve Graff and Kevin Jean.
Hello, everybody. You're watching Tackle Talk Live. I'm Dower Pro Staffer Steve Graff, along with Gill Fishing Accounts Manager Mr. Kevin Jean. Today, we're going to wrap up Bass Champs event on Sam Rayburn with the champion of the, one of the champions of this team event, Shane Campbell and Wyatt Frankens. Wyatt's going to join us here in just a little bit as they came in, Kevin, with 5 fish for $39.52. Not a small bag, my friend.
No, Steve, we've been waiting for this bag to drop on Sam Rayburn this year. We knew it was going to happen. We just didn't know who and when, but we knew it was going to happen, and it did this past weekend. Steve, Sam Rayburn and Toledo Bend both showed out this weekend. I know in Bass Champs they had 2 bags over 30 pounds, and then the Fishers of Men on Toledo Bend, they had 3 bags over 30 pounds. So how would you like to come in with a 30-pound sack and get third?
Or come in with 27 and get 5th. You know, how many times does that happen? I mean, it's just like that. You're right. Toledo Bend and Rayburn are both on fire right now. And so we're gonna hear from Wyatt exactly kind of what they did, how they did it, and get as much information as out of him as we possibly can. We're gonna also talk about how they smashed them. As you already alluded to, Fishers of Men will give the final results of that. That was on Toledo Bend. We've got upcoming tournaments. We've got lake level reports. We got our product of the week. I've got something a little special I'm going to share with everybody. All this and more today on Tackle Talk Live. We're going to take a quick break to recognize a few of our sponsors. And when we return, we will have Wyatt Frankens of Team Campbell and Frankens, who just won Bass Champs over on Sam Rayburn. Stay tuned. You're watching Tackle Talk Live.
A good marine dealer is hard to find, but a great dealer is even harder. But in Iowa, Louisiana, there's a marine dealer that falls into the great category, Power Implements Marine, South Louisiana's go-to dealer for all things related to the boating industry. A Minn Kota, Garmin, and Mercury dealer, guaranteeing you first-rate service in both sales and repair. A great selection of new and used boats to choose from, including Skeeter, G3, Ranger, Camus, and Go Devil. A knowledgeable staff that will treat you like family and are always willing to go the extra mile to ensure you walk out a happy customer. To see everything they have to offer, go to powerimplements.com or stop by 606 East Miller Street in Iowa, Louisiana. Plus, mention Tackle Talk Live and save $500 off a new or pre-owned boat or $50 off your first service ticket. Toledo Health is a full-service primary and acute care clinic. Nurse practitioners Jarrett Rule and Melissa Vines bring quality health care that's needed and convenient to the area. Nothing is worse than being sick on your family or fishing getaway. Whether it's a stomach virus or a hook in the hand, Toledo Healthcare will try and meet all your health care needs. Appointments available and walk-ins are always welcome. So the next time you're feeling down at Toledo Bend, stop by Toledo Healthcare, located on Highway 6 just south of Toledo Town, or call 318-508-5323. Very few stores are a complete one-stop shop, but Cypress Knee Outdoors is such a place. A store within a store. Cypress Knee is located inside 3J's 4-Way. Whether you need gas, food, drinks, or bait and tackle, they have it. Cypress Knee Outdoors carries top-name fishing brands like Strike King, Sandtone, Spro, and V&M. Crappie jigs from Bobby Garland. Need hunting gear? They have it. Ammunition from rifle to shotgun shells. Deer scents from Buck Wild and Doe and Heat. Deer stands from Titan and feeders from T-Hanger. Cypress Knee has it all. Located off I-49, exit 127, just south of Natchitoches, Louisiana. So stop by Cypress Knee Outdoors and let John Abram and his staff show you everything they have to offer. Or give them a call at 318-238-HUNT. You're watching Tackle Talk Live, a show dedicated to making you a better angler. Now back to the guys with all the inside scoop, Kevin Jean and Steve Graff.
This is Tackle Talk Live. I want to thank you for tuning us in. This segment presented by Toledo Health, 3J's Four-Way, home of Cypress and the Outdoors, and Power Implements Marine, located in Iowa, Louisiana. And I saw, Kevin, a boat wrap in the ABA Pro League from Power Implements Marine, but I never got a chance to walk over and say hello or introduce myself because I'm not sure exactly who the guy was.
They've
but
got
I'm gonna,
a couple.
I'm gonna find out.
Yeah,
I'm gonna find out who that guy is. But if you mention, all you guys out there, if you're taking your boat in for service work, if you mention at Power Implements Marine if you mention Tackle Talk Live, you're gonna get $500 off the purchase of a new or used boat, or you're gonna get $50 off your first service ticket. So well worth the time to say you watch Tackle Talk Live. So check it out and make sure you give those guys a look at Power Implements Marine, located right there in Iowa, Louisiana. All right, on the Tackle Talk hotline or video line today, we've got Wyatt Frankens. Him and Shane Campbell went over there and wrecked them this past weekend with over 39 pounds at the Bass Champs, took home the first place prize. I guess, Wyatt, the first thing let's just start practice. How was practice for you guys? Was it tough? Was it, were they biting? What was the deal?
Yeah, man. So, Bass Champs usually is a week off limits. This year, I think, was the first year they allowed you to get a day of practice the day before the event. And yeah,
I believe you can weigh a fish. If you have a big fish, they'll pay $1,000 for that Friday.
Yeah, and I think there was 3 9s weighed in practice.
Really?
Yeah, I think
wow.
Jeff Bridges and his partner ended up winning that with like a 9.5 or 9 3/4. So, yeah, that was like, oh man, it's fixing to get ugly tomorrow. That's kind of the feeling everybody was getting. And man. Practice for us was really just searching for a lot of new water. We've been around some fish all year. We just haven't been able to connect with them, whether it be the weather, whether it be rising water, whether it be blown out water. They're here today, gone tomorrow. And, Shane actually debated on wanting to fish this tournament after the butt kicking we took over there on Lake Conroe. So, he was like, man, I don't know if I want to fish it. And maybe we need to save our fish for belt. And I'm like, man, I told him I look at the weather and I'm like, dude, there's no such thing as saving fish on Rayburn. Like, they're here today, gone tomorrow. It's ever changing. Here we are again. They're dropping the bottom out of this lake. You got to just go get it when you can. And so thankfully I convinced him. I pretty much told him, like, hey, I'm fishing it. Like, I hope you fish it with me, but I'm probably going to fish it, So he did. Yeah. And thankfully we got to fish out of his skeeter, and that paid an extra $10,000. So,
yeah. Now, Wyatt, you got second in the Toyota, right? A couple weeks ago? Okay.
Yeah.
So just kind of break that down for us before we jump into y'all's day, like how you caught them in the Toyota, how you caught them on Saturday. We're going to jump. I'm going to ask you for a full day breakdown, but compare them two tournaments. Second at Toyota to Saturday. Was it same places? Was it same? Just kind of compare those two tournaments.
Yeah, man, the Toyota was interesting. First of all, congrats to Colby Miller. Long time coming for that guy. He's on a hot streak. Just had a really good finish over there at West Point. Got 4th place. Dude's making a lot of money this year. Good for him, man. He's a great angler, great dude. Happy to call him a friend. So, he absolutely smashed him like you alluded to. I got second, but I got second by like 14, 15 pounds. So it was a butt kicking for sure. But yeah, man, the Toyota was. It was actually a lot different, man. We had some weather again. Day one, the wind did pick up a little bit, but thankfully it settled a little bit that morning, and I was able to kind of move around some of my areas. I wouldn't really say these are spots, and we'll get into that and more on the Bass Champs deal as well. Some of the areas from the Toyota did play in Champs, but mainly in the Toyota, man, I was having to really mix it up. Like, I had some grass fish in the Toyota. I had day one I had right at 27 pounds, and my biggest fish came out of the grass in that one that day. Day two in the Toyota, I only weighed in like 10 pounds, like right at 11 pounds. the wind was blowing hard. And that's when everybody really smashed them. I fell from third to 12th. I think it helped a lot of other guys. The areas I was fishing, it hurt me really bad. And, so I kind of being a little hard headed, probably should have went and tried to get protected, but I didn't. And I fell down to 12th. And then the final day, man, the northwest wind came and it got rough there at the end of the day. Anybody that made that final day cut will tell you those waves were really big coming back to weigh in. But once again, I had close to 25 pounds. I was able to fish some of my stuff that was protected out of the wind, but also one of my biggest fish again came out of the grass. So, really mixing it up in the Toyota, kind of jumping around, taking advantage of forward-facing sonar. Once again, love it or this is always going to be my stance on that deal. Love it or hate it, it's here. It's not going anywhere, and I refuse to get beat by it. So, I put a lot of time in with it, and several of my fish in the Toyota did come using that on a spinning rod, light line, getting really finesse on them, and others were on a jig, a football jig. And a hybrid jig from 6 Cents, and others came on a bladed jig out of the grass. So Toyota was it was a lot of mixing it up, a lot of keeping stuff really honest,
Yeah.
I got one question for you, Wyatt. On a 3-day event like the Toyotas, not fish the Toyotas myself, I understand the whole dynamics of that. At what point do you, as an angler, say, okay, I've got X number of pounds. I don't need to bang on them all day. Is there a number in your head that, like, if I get to 20 pounds, if I get to 22, do I hold off and not bang on them anymore? What is it for Wyatt?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because day one, I probably had, probably 24 pounds or so. I think my smallest fish was like probably a 3-pounder. I was like, man, I'm gonna go. I haven't done my grass deal yet. I feel pretty good about it. I wasn't getting a ton of bites in practice, but out of the grass. But when I did, seemed to be a good one. At the time, the way the water level was, there was an inside grass line deal going on. I feel pretty confident, fishing that and targeting that. And so I went down my first grass stretch and caught my biggest fish to get me to 27 pounds. And I'm like, that's when I laid off. I was like, man, I don't think I'm going to go around in the grass, and I think all I'm going to do is hurt myself at that point. So I laid off, hoping that they would be there day 2, and they were absolutely not. So, day 2, I did not make good adjustments, take really poor decisions. So, and then day 3, pick it back up.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into Bass Champs, man. 39 pounds. You had to convince Shane to fish. Kind of take us through the day, man. Starting off takeoff that morning. Just kind of take us through the day and how it all went down. I know you all had a 10-pounder. You caught the 10-pounder, right? Gotcha. Yeah, take us through the day.
Yeah, man. So, we weren't particularly worried about boat number. We drew boat 100 and something, but you know how Champs does their deal. You don't really know what boat you are because it's like you draw numbers for all the way to 250 or whatever, 300, and they only had 177 in the tournament. So, we knew we were, about mid to late in the field, but we weren't really concerned about boat number, mainly because we haven't had anybody around our stuff all year. And sure enough, once again, in Champs, we didn't. And, a lot of the big bags that you hear about getting caught on Sam Rayburn, usually it's like they pull up and get right kind of deal. Usually they pull up with a crankbait or something offshore and they just blast them. That's not how it happened for us. We did not catch really, honestly, 2 fish in the same spot. So day 1, my bad. That morning of Champs, we roll up to our first little area, drop the trolling motor, start scoping around a little bit. And Shane catches one first thing on a jig, about probably 3 3/4. He called it a 4-pounder. It wasn't. It was like a 3 1/2, 3 3/4.
He's a big eye.
Yeah. And there was more fish down there. We could see them on live scope. Could not get another one to bite. That's the thing about these fish. They're tricky. And we kind of, we knew it was time to go based on what we've seen in the past. Yes, there's fish there, but they are not set up. You are not going to catch another one. I don't care how good you are, kind of deal.
Yeah.
And so we roll up to the next little area. And I believe, we were trying to crank it and throw a jig on it as well. they were not having it. So I picked up a spinning rod, got a little finesse on them, and caught one about 6 something. It was a good one, not built very well. Big head. Like when she first came up, I thought it was like a 7 or an 8. Nobody. So she was either post spawn or really old fish. I really don't know. So we caught that one. Once again, more fish down there. Could not get another one to bite. We knew when it was time to go.
Are
Go
you
ahead.
finding that are you finding that fairly often now, Rayburn, Wyatt? When you
Yes.
pull a fish out, the rest of them just shut down now. Do you circle back to that later and maybe hit it again?
It really depends on kind of what you're fishing. That's real. Like, are they suspended? Are they bottom fish? That's just kind of case by case kind of deal. Like if they're suspended, I mean, you're kind of at that point. You're really not. There's no way to bank on that. You know what I mean?
Right.
You might have a general area where some good ones are roaming, but you can't really bank on a particular waypoint or something like that. If that makes sense. So
Right.
after that fish, they scattered. Then we went to another little area. This was actually a bottom spot. There wasn't very many there. I had been looking at this little area for a while. And there wasn't very many fish there really all year, and they're just now kind of getting there, which is a good thing for us. But there wasn't very many there, only 2 or 3 down there, and I fired a jig in there and caught another big one. I don't know what that one weighed. Like, I don't know, dude. They were all just big. I don't know. It was a good one, and put her in the box, and we kind of going back to what you were saying, we kind of circled back to the general area where we started, but definitely not, the same exact, waypoint or anything, just general area. Went to live scoping again. And that's when I caught our other, like, it was like a 7.5 or 7.75 once again on a spinning rod. Had to target her or you were not going to catch her. She was kind of roaming. And that one, once again, big head, no body. So either old or post spawn, one of the two.
Now we talking shaky head, drop shot?
Demiki.
Okay.
Yep, ball head, quarter-ounce ball head. So yeah, Demiki rig. And it wasn't long after that at all. Shane saw another one, and when I looked, like I was kind of like, I think I was retying my line. And by the time I stood up, I looked down at the screen, and Shane's working another one, another roamer, but it's big. And she starts getting pretty vertical on the bait, and usually that means it's probably fixing to happen. And so before he ever set the hook, I grabbed the net, and as I turned around with the net, he had her hooked, and that was a 9. That was a 9.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a big one. So at that point, I think we had about 31, I believe. Our smallest fish was at 3 3/4. That was number 5. The 9 was number 5.
Shane's 4-pounder.
Yeah, Shane's 4-pounder is like a 3.5. So I found this area that we went to next. I was pretty confident. This was a new one. I found it on Friday. I was pretty confident that we could go make a coal there, and sure enough, we pull up. First one I see, throw at it, catch it, 6-pounder, coal that 3.5, and now we've got 34 or 35 pounds, and it's like 8:30. So just keep in mind,
6-pounder being your smallest.
I believe so. 5 3/4, 6, somewhere in that range. Shane's used that Bubba scale, and his scale weighs a little light, which I actually like.
And that's funny you should, because Lake of the Pines, I've been there. My Bubba scale is weighing 1 pound heavy.
I know some weigh heavy, some weigh light. When I fished the invitationals, they introduced that scale that they're using now, and mine didn't weigh. Mine weighed heavy too, and I didn't like that. I don't
either.
But yeah, man. So just keep in mind, like I'm talking about moving and all this, and you might think this is taking us a while. Like this is all happening very fast. This
it's 8:30 in the morning, and you got 34 pounds.
Yep. Wow. And not none of them. This is all different areas, different little deals. None of it really sets up the same. So. But there's not a lot there, and that's the deal. I've had a lot of people, asking about that. Like, man,
it's not your typical Rayburn pull up, Monday and them back in the day, 3 or 4 years ago, pull up and you catch 40 pounds in 15 minutes on a crankbait. It's just not that anymore. And we haven't heard that. I don't think this year, outside of Casey Burley and them catching all of them on a jig on on a jig out of a brush pile a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Out of one top. Yeah.
We haven't heard, of it going down in one place.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you're exactly right. And I've had people asking me, like, how do y'all feel about the belt? And what do you think? Like, can y'all go back to back?
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I'd love to, but there's absolutely no way of me knowing the answer to that.
Right.
Absolutely not. Yeah. So interesting little story here. At about 9:30, I had to go drop Shane off at the boat ramp. So before the tournament started, this is one of the reasons Shane didn't know if he wanted to fish or not. His son, he's got a little boy who I absolutely love. I love Brooks to death. And he had soccer tryouts, and Shane didn't want to miss his soccer tryouts. So we called Jeff. We called Jeff with Bass Champs before we ever signed up for the tournament. We said, hey, man, can I drop Shane off? Can he go watch the soccer tryouts, and can I come pick him back up, And, and Jeff allowed that. So what we had to do is when I dropped Shane off at the ramp, we had to call him and let him know what we had. And then when I picked Shane back up for the ramp, we had to call him and let him know what we had. We knew that we'd probably get polygraphed over it, which is totally fine. We have no problem taking a polygraph. And we also have the whole day on GoPro. So, but it was really cool because we called Jeff when I dropped him off at 9:30 and told him he had 34 pounds. He's like, are you serious? And I was like, wow. Yeah, man,
that's hard. Now, props to Shane. And you know this. I'm not fishing nowhere near like I used to because of my daughter. And she's gotten to that age where we're playing sports and we're traveling, doing this now. So, but props to Shane, man, on leaving, going to trouts when you got 34 pounds in the live well.
I know it. He didn't want to leave, but that's how much he loves his boy, man. And, hats off for him for doing that. And, the fish were all when you got that kind of bag, you start to at least have the conversation about weighing in early.
Yeah.
And if any of those fish would have given me a sign in any way that they were not doing well, we would have been at weigh-in. Yeah. And Shane told me that, when he left, he said, you freaking call me. If one of those fish get on their side, if they start looking bad, you call me, I'll meet you at weigh-in. And I said, absolutely, man. And so I was checking on them. But to be honest.
Now, Wyatt, were these fish deep enough you had to fizz any of them?
No, and you know what, man? I'm glad you brought that up because I don't like to fizz fish.
No,
I keep a stockpile of fin clips in my boat. Yes. I would rather fin clip these fish. Like, don't be too invasive on them, especially the big ones, man. We're not catching them deep enough. But they, they're so big and they're in a tight space. They like to get up on their sides.
When you got 34 pounds in a live well, it gets a little gets a little full.
Yeah, I was messing with Shane. Them skeeter live wells ain't near as deep as them cat live wells. I didn't know if they could handle it. But they were doing fine, man. And when I picked Shane back up, Shane will, he'll tell you it was pretty funny because I never felt safe. Even with 34 in the live well, I was like,
one more.
I told him, I said, I got a bad feeling, dude, that we're fixing to get beat. And,
now, what time did you pick Shane back up?
About 10:45.
And at 10:45, you still have 34.
Yeah, I went back out and caught like a 3.5. That didn't help. That was about it.
Yeah.
At that point, we're kind of, what do we do? Our smallest fish is close to 6 pounds. What do we do? And Shane's like, where do we need to go to catch a 10-pounder? And I'm like, dude, if I knew the answer to that, we would have been doing it all year. So he's like, you know what? I got this one little deal. You might think it's stupid. Let's just go look at it. We start running around. And, it's not happening. And we are catching decent fish, like 3 3/4, 3.5, mainly using forward-facing sonar at that point. At that point, I kind of felt like the grass I got a bunch of grass stuff, but it wasn't going to give us the bite we needed unless we got really lucky. At that point, I wasn't really looking at it like we're hunting at this point. Yeah. We are on the trolling motor. At this point, we are hunting for one bite. And that's exactly what we did, and it took, it probably wasn't until 1:30, 2 o'clock. We're hunting from, 11 to that long without making a call. And it starts to get to that point in the day where I'm halfway like, man, I'm about ready to weigh in because I just wasn't doing well. Like I got really, really quiet, and Shane's like, dude, what's wrong with you? Like we got 34 pounds on the line. Well, you need to be happy. And I'm like, dude, I want to win. And I just don't feel good about it. I just feel like somebody's going to crack a humongous bag and somebody's going to get us, And so we go to this one little deal that Shane likes, and went over there, and I didn't really like the area, to be totally honest with you. And then I caught one about 4 3/4 that didn't help again. But it gave me confidence in the area that there was probably some good ones roaming around. And we're still hunting at that point. It's probably 2:00. We're not doing until 3:30. And then I pan up there, and I see one on the screen, and I'm like, whoa, I don't even know what that is. That's ridiculous. And Shane's like, is that a bass? And by the time he said, is that a bass, I done thrown at her. And she gets vertical on my bait. And at that point, that's when I set the hook, and she came up, and that was a 10-pounder. And
wow.
What size line?
8-pound. Yeah, 8-pound.
Wow.
15-pound braid main line to an 8-pound leader.
How times have changed.
Times have changed.
So you go out there and find a bed fish. This fish was just out roaming. I guess it's going to pull up the spawn probably on pre-staging fish.
Yeah, pre-spawner, 23 foot of water, suspended over absolutely nothing. Wow. And I think she was about 5 foot down under the surface. What I really think, to be honest with you, and it was in the mouth of a spawning area. So, we're not scoping stuff that doesn't make sense. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Right.
So I really think that good, flat, calm days, sunny, I think they like to get up there and get a little sun.
Yeah.
And
I believe that.
I really think that's what she was doing. She's probably up there just getting a little sun,
Yeah.
It was awesome, dude. I freaked out when we got her in the live. When we got her in the net, she kicked my butt, dude. Like
with
so
8-pound
bad.
line.
Well, let's say 8-pound test. I don't doubt it. I mean, holy cow!
It was a butt kicking, dude. You'll see. We got it all on GoPro, and when I get her in the boat, I freak out. I'm like a 5-year-old kid, and I really don't even care. I just.
Now, are you throwing braid with a leader?
Yeah, 15-pound braid mainline to a 8-pound fluorocarbon leader.
Yeah, I mean your knot's what you're concerned about right there. I mean,
I trust my knot a lot. Never broke on me ever. Really, more than anything, what I fear is their teeth getting on that light line and rubbing it.
Right.
That's where they get you.
Yeah.
So
did you make another cast, or are we going straight to
no? Absolutely not. I was like, I am done. We're going to weigh in now. And Shane's like, what if there's another one? I said, I don't care. I said, we're leaving now, dude. I'm done. I'm ready to get to weigh in. At that point, we go check in probably an hour early. And I wanted to make sure my dad was there. That was all I was concerned with. And so I waited till my dad got there. Fish once again doing very well. And there was nobody hardly at weigh in, but, Dad was there, and that's all that really mattered to me. And
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so I'm glad he got to see that,
Good deal.
So everything y'all got on GoPro, and you're going to have on y'all's YouTube page, The Juice Podcast, which y'all do, and y'all do a great job at. I watch y'all show a lot.
Appreciate it.
Y'all cover several different things going on in the industry, and I do enjoy y'all's podcast. But the full GoPro footage is on your YouTube page, correct?
It's not yet. We're editing it. And it will be up. We've got to edit a little bit of it because we get a little wild sometimes. Got to edit a little bit of it and see if we can see what the backgrounds look like and all that good jazz. But we're gonna wait till after the belt to release it probably, and just to make sure we're safe and everything. But man, what a
Well, I do have one more question for you before we let you go. What do you look for, and what should an angler look for when it comes to a team partner? These team events are so big, especially at Rayburn, Toledo Bend. I mean, what are you looking for in a partner? Give our viewers an idea. Here's what you need to look. Do you want a partner that does opposite of what you do? Do you want a guy that thinks like you do? Give us some ideas of how you think when you're looking for a partner.
Yeah, that's really cool you brought that up. Me and Shane actually brought that up not long ago on a podcast. Just, because a team partner, if you're serious about it like we are, it's kind of like a marriage. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, you have arguments, and you have people that split up, and you gotta really work together and find someone who's really compatible with kind of how you think. I don't know. I mean, I do know some partners that do well, and they're like, man, we're total opposites, and but that does work for some people. That's not really how me and Shane gel. I think we gel well because we're comfortable fishing pretty much any way that we need to, um, and we're both really willing to adapt to anything that comes our way. So, and we don't always do, and we get beat because we don't sometimes. But that's fishing,
Yeah.
and we're
Yeah.
constantly learning. But I just think finding somebody that's willing to put in the time, man, like
Right.
it's tough, dude. I'm gonna be real with you. Like you get thrown to it's the Lions Den on Sam
Yep.
Rayburn and Toledo Bend. Like these boys are for real. They put in their
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
and I respect the heck out of them for doing so because I know I do. And um, yeah, I look for somebody that's willing to put in the time. Obviously, Shane's extremely gifted angler. He was in like top 20 in the Angler of the Year points in the first inaugural year of the Opens. One bad finish away, or one bad day away, and he would have been qualified for the
Hmm.
elites. He's obviously a very
Yeah.
talented angler.
Yeah.
And that's probably going to be our goal looking forward. We're probably going to try to make another run at the Opens. And we're looking forward to that. That's for half the reason we're doing the podcast deal. We're trying to, gather up as much money as possible. It's very expensive to do this, and our goal is the Opens, though. And so it's very, like I said, it's like a marriage, but
Well,
Yeah.
but I also think, and you said it right there, both of y'all have common goals, and
right,
you have to have somebody that not only puts time on the water, but wants to have goals similar.
correct.
Or if you're going in separate directions, it's not going to work. And that's one
You're
thing,
right.
I always say is you have to have somebody that fishes. I'm not saying like you, but fishes well together. But you got to be going in the right direction together.
Mm,
Well, and gone are the days like when I started in the 1990s. I mean, it was commonplace for guys to show up the day before a team event one day, maybe practice a little bit, and go out and go fishing. You
Yeah,
fished a
no,
lot
it's
of
not.
history back then. Today, that don't work. I mean,
No.
you just donating is all you're doing.
yeah, man, and I think it's just Rayburn is constantly changing. Like it never stays the same, and Toledo's the same way. They're drawing that
Yeah.
sucker down too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
and
let's talk a little bit about that. So Brandon Belt this weekend, and I
yeah,
know y'all are both fishing out. You're practicing today, in and out of thunderstorms, but man, they are drawing that dude down, Rayburn. I mean, they are drawing.
yeah,
Pulling it hard. Yes.
yeah.
What's your thoughts on this weekend with pulling it as hard as they're pulling it
Yeah, man. It makes
with the
me,
weather we have coming as well?
yeah, it makes me a little nervous. For, not for really what we're fishing. It might help us. I'm not sure. But really, it makes me nervous for the spawn. I mean,
Yeah.
makes me nervous for these fish. I literally yesterday I went to the back of a pocket just to see if I could see males. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
Clear water. If they were there, I could have saw them. I didn't see not one male locked on a bed.
Ooh, that's not good.
68-degree water temperature. Dude,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not good.
Yeah.
I need to see a male locked on. Like,
Right.
not
Right.
a bass, dude. And Todd Fish Bass Champs, I watched his YouTube channel yesterday. He said they didn't find a fish on a bed. That's one of the best top fishermen that do
Yeah,
this
on
out
this
here.
planet. Yeah,
Uh,
that's
that's
not
not good.
good. No,
That's
that's
not
not
good.
good
I
at
think,
all.
and you know what, man, the cords, they don't care. That's not what this lake was built for, and I get it. They don't really care about the spawn. You know, they're more worried about water level and dam work, and I get it. They got a job to do. But yes, I think it will affect the spawn. I think it will affect it negatively, and I sure hope that Raybury can handle it. And as far as the fishing goes, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it's going to do to some of those shallower fish. I know the inside grass line is going to be taken away. I know the bushes are
Mhm.
going to be taken away, but those are the places they spawn. Like that, they like
You
to
know,
spawn on that stuff.
those fish want to go. I mean, it like you said, water's right, time of year, everything's right. Those fish want to go. They can't because every time they go, next thing you know, the water's getting taken off their head. So,
Yep.
man, I do. I hate that. It's not good for the fishery, but like you said, they have a job they have to do as well. So,
Yep. They absolutely do, man.
Well, the saving grace for me is I've talked to several fish and wildlife biologists, and they've all told me they're gonna spawn. It's just a matter of, do they relocate into 5 to 8 foot of water and spawn on a laydown or a top of a stump? He said they're going to blow those eggs at some point. Whether they go shallow or not, they're still going to. Yeah. But the survival rate may not be as good.
Right. 100%. You're exactly right. See, I've heard stories of those fish, like if they can't get right. I don't know, man. I'm not a biologist, but I do enjoy the sport. I'm a fan, so I like to look at all this stuff. And I've heard that if they can't get up there and like say lay them somewhere, they'll just freaking lay them. Like
they'll blow.
Got to get rid of them, And
they'll blow them in your live well.
Yeah, they will. Yeah,
they will blow them. I've had that happen.
Well, Wyatt, we know you're guiding, so if somebody wants to get a hold of you of a guide trip as soon as you're done with all your tournament winnings here, how do they get a hold of you for a guide trip?
Yeah, just Wyatt Frankens Guide Service on Facebook or just my personal page, Wyatt Frankens. Message me on Facebook. My cell phone number is on my page. You can text me, call me, and we will try to make something work. I will say, man, that I think I've really shifted more towards a, more of the teaching or trying to tell people about electronic, more at that aspect. It's not really going to be a fish catching trip. There's multiple guides out there for that are very good guides and that can do that for you. But really, the reason I'm transitioning more of that type of style is that's really what I get hit up for anyway. So, and I would rather do that. I'd rather go take some high school kids out and tell them about live scope or just talk to them about fishing and tell them the truth. Like, hey man, this stuff is tough. Like, if you really want to do this, like, this is the reality. Like, it's tough and it's not all sunshine and rainbows. And here's the ethics part of it. Like, I love that side of it. I enjoy that. And,
hey, and teaching the electronic side, you're looking at an old dog here. So I would love to get in a boat with you and just go out and you just show me, make sure my electronics are set up right. Absolutely. And I'm looking at, I'm still learning and I'm gotten better with it, but I'm still learning. And I know a lot of BASS pros right now are wishing they were a lot better with it than what they are.
We're not going to open that can of worms, Steve.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, we won't go there today.
I know it, man. They're going to get good with it. It's just a matter of time. They'll do it.
Yeah.
Wyatt, man, thanks for coming on. Thanks for taking time out of your practice to kind of, catch us up with how it went down, man. Congratulations and good luck this weekend in the belt.
Man, I really appreciate it. I truly enjoy the podcast. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thank you. All right. Wyatt Frankens, we appreciate him coming on with us today. And Kev, we're going to take a quick break. And when we return, we'll have the results, the total results for Bass Champs, ABA Pro League, Fishers of Men, and we'll wrap up the Bassmaster Elite Series on Fork. You're watching Tackle Talk Live. We'll be right back.
Pride Rods, custom-built fishing rods made to handle any and all techniques. Fishing rods designed for sensitivity and made to last in Montgomery, Texas. Built by Billy Kistler with the finest Gary Loomis North Fork composite blanks available. They offer a complete line of spinning and casting rods for both fresh and salt water. Pride Rods do more than pass the eye test. They excel in performance as well. Ask your local tackle dealer if they carry Pride Rods and pick one up to try it for yourself. Take pride in your fishing by using Pride Rods. To learn more, go to priderods.com or call 832-418-6040. The Lakes Insurance Agency is an independent insurance agency taking care of Texans' insurance needs for over 25 years, offering auto, homeowners, boat, RV, life, health, and commercial insurance. Owner Clark Moore is a local fishing guide and tournament angler who understands your insurance needs and wants to be your go-to guide for all your insurance needs. For a free quote, give him a call and see why so many Texans trust the Lake Insurance Agency. 2 locations to serve you in both Nacogdoches and Broadus, Texas, or give him a call at 936-205-4467. The next time you're headed for Toledo Bend or Sam Rayburn, stop by Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle. They have an awesome supply of everything you'll need to catch the big ones. Whether your trip calls for bass fishing, white perch tackle, catfish bait, or the ultimate fighting shiners, Keith's Tackle has you covered. Keith and former Elite Series pro Ben Matsubu also have the latest information on what, how, and where you need to be fishing on Sam Rayburn or the Bend. So for all your tackle needs, check out Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, located just off Highway 21 on the Texas side of Toledo Bend, or call 409-625-0181. You're watching Tackle Talk Live, a show dedicated to making you a better angler. Now back to the guys with all the inside scoop, Kevin Jean and Steve Graff.
Welcome back to Tackle Talk Live. Once again, we want to thank Wyatt Frankens for coming on with us, taking time out of his busy day to join us. And Kevin gave us some great insight, and we just can't say thank you enough to him for all the stuff. We got in some pretty deep topics there, and he did a good job of navigating those waters for us. And by the way, this segment presented by Pride Rods, Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, the Lakes Insurance of Nacogdoches, Texas, and Power Implements Marine, located in Iowa, Louisiana. Kevin, if you mention Tackle Talk Live, what happens?
$500 off on any a purchase of any new or used boat, or $50 off on any service ticket. So if you're anywhere within driving distance of Iowa, Lake Charles, Louisiana, you need to go by and tell our boys at Power Implements hi, and tell them Tackle Talk Live sent you, and use it for your advantage for sure.
All right, Kevin, I think you got Bass Champ results right there in front of you from Sam Rayburn. I guess give us top 10 or top.
So of course, Shane Campbell, Wyatt Frankens had 39.52. Second place, Hayden Heck, who we just had on the show. Ken Berthelou, 31.27. Third place, Kevin Walford and Chris Romano, 26.48. They had a 9.15 big bass. Fourth place, Cameron Roan and Stephen Thomas had 25.66. Fifth place, Mike Williams and Ian Walters. Waterer had 22.74. And let's see here. Rusty Clark, Corey Rambo was 6 with 22.56. Steve, they had 11 bags over 20.
Yeah.
And let's see. 20th place was the last check. Nick Kincaid, 20th place by himself, had 17.37. So they called. Wow. I know they had like 177 boats, which, Steve, this is another podcast for another day. But, man, numbers are down for the first weekend of March. Beautiful, beautiful Saturday. That's low number, Steve. That's
it really is for Bass Champs.
And it's not just Bass Champs. I'm not picking on Bass
Texas
Champs.
Team Trail,
this is
they're all
across
down.
the board.
Yeah.
Everybody has had low numbers, which they had, and we're fixing to talk about here in a minute. Fishers and Men on Toledo Bend had a good turnout that took away from Bass Champs. I'm hearing not good numbers for Brandon Belt this weekend. I hate that for them because it's first place. I think this is the $100,000 one, Steve.
This is the Grand Slam. Yeah, the Grand Slam event.
Not hearing very good numbers coming from over there as well. So,
there's pluses and minuses, Kevin, to putting a tournament on Sam Rayburn. You got a lot of guys that know they can't go compete and beat certain number of sticks over there. There's no way they're going to win because of who's in it. So I think that kind of Toledo Bend's getting the same way, and it's gotten to the point where I think guys are like, I don't want to donate, So unless they got a paying down in pretty good ways where guys can get their money back, a lot of guys are rethinking what they're fishing now. A good example.
Also, I'll say this, Steve. Brandon Belt this weekend on Sam Rayburn. The Spino tournament is on Toledo Bend. It is a no forward-facing sonar tournament. You're not allowed to use forward-facing sonar.
Right.
Rumor is he's going to have and has a really, really good turnout already and is just getting better day by day.
Yeah, they're ahead of schedule on their registrations, which was a little shocking to a lot of people. They're like, really? So I'm telling you, I think that, and again, when I look at benefit tournaments like the Dylan Poche event, the Spino Tire, that's where your grandpa and grandsons fish together, and your dad and your son fish together, or your daughter and your dad fish together. And it's just a traditional event where it's laid back, a lot of door prizes, good food, I mean, it's just a fun event to fish. And so I just don't see the numbers going down on those kind of events like that. There's too many weekend warriors out there that love those kind of events. So,
but there's also a lot of guys that would fish the belt that's fishing the Spino and supporting the Spino.
Yeah.
The no forward facing sonar tournament. So,
yeah, that's true. ABA Pro League, that's the new, which used to be the Open Series. And as a lot of you well know, ABA eliminated co-anglers. And this first one for the Texas division, a little surprised. I was kind of pumped up after the Solo 150 did not have a good turnout of like 30 pros showed up for that event on Lake of the Pines. Now, Rayburn, I think, which is in June, I think that one's going to have a really good turnout. But there was just so much going on with Brandon Belt, Bass. There was just too much going on. And I think that hurt the Solo 150. But 55 boaters showed up for this individual, no partner, no co-angler deal. Had a really good turnout. I was very surprised, and some guys caught them. Jordan Osborne from Hallsville, Texas, won it with 28.50. George Carter from Longview, Texas, was second with 22.69. Justin Graves was third with 21.38. Shane Gibson from Kilgore was fourth with 19.42. Michael Watley from Harleton, Texas, was fifth with 19.37. Chance Woodard from Paris, Texas, was sixth with 18.33. Seventh place was Robert Packison from Marshall, Texas. He had 17.14. Zach Fogel was eighth from Longview with 16.11. John Cure from Montgomery, Texas, was ninth with 15.52 and 10th place. Rounding out top 10 was Calvin Penny from Mount Vernon, Texas, right next door to my old hometown of Mount Pleasant. He came in with 5 fish for 14.94. A lot of fish were caught from 10 to 15 pound bags. A lot of bags in that range, probably 20, at least 20 places in that range. And but a good turnout for Chris Wayan and those guys at the ABA. So that's the new pro league. I think our next one is on Rayburn, I do believe. So, but anyway, looking forward to finishing out those. I got, I think, 2 more of those left plus the championship. And so I think you got, Kevin, this is the group that really, I mean, and this, a lot of people don't understand. I fish Fishers of Men. I think you fished it.
absolutely.
There's some sticks that fish this Fishers of Men stuff. I can tell you that for a fact.
We've talked about it, Steve. So back in the day, and 10 years ago, I guess, when I fished them, and I fished them every other year. I think me and Daryl fished the championship on Pickwick one year, but we fished
I was there.
A lot. And now they're guaranteeing 10 grand. Mr. Dick Polk is back running that division. Not a better man to be running a circuit like that. He does an excellent job. Their staff does an excellent job. That's why they have the following they do, Steve. Had a great turnout. I'm unsure about exactly how many numbers. Mr. Dick could get on to me, shoot me a text here after a while, tell me how many he had. But, Steve, they had 3 bags over 34 pounds. They had 3 bags, 3.
And I can tell you, they had over 100, I don't want to say 109 teams show up for that. That is awesome.
So they had 3 34-pound bags. 3 34-pound bags. Cody Pitt won the event with 34.98. Billy Parker and Zane Parker had 34.75. And then Tater Reynolds and George Jean had 34.39.
Yeah.
Junior. Wow. I mean, that's unreal. 4th place, Richard Moore and Cole Moore had 28.81. 5th place, and like you said, how do you like to weigh 27 pounds? 5th place was 27.08, and come in 5th was Toby Johnson and Sam Huckabee out of Shreveport up there. Wow, Steve. I mean, Cody Pitt, man, he can catch them. He catches them year round over there. Him and Tater Reynolds, Cole Moore, Colby Miller. I mean, those guys are just freaking catching them year round over there. If they show up, you better show up with a bag. As they proved it again this past weekend. But wow, Toledo being, they showed out for the MLF guys. And to have 3 bags over 34 pounds this past weekend is incredible.
Yeah, there's some guys there. Here's a Danny Cherry. I know where he's from. Danny used to fish ABA seriously. There's some guys that are showing up for this. That are some sticks from all over the region. This isn't just a Toledo Bend deal.
No, it's not.
These guys are showing up from all over.
Yeah, Fishermen is getting their stuff together, and they're getting it back to how it used to be.
Sam Huckabee, he's from Shreveport. Yeah. I mean, he drove all. I mean, again, they're pulling some teams in there. So congratulations to Fishers of Men. Good job. Wrap up the Elite Series over on Lake Fork, and of course, if you watched any of this, Kevin, it was just a smash fest. You know, I remember one of the sponsors of my show, Hooking Up and Trekking Down, Johnny Geis, is a guide over there. And a couple of years ago, people were complaining, the locals were complaining they couldn't catch bass over there. What's the deal? Nobody can catch fish here anymore. People want to sell their places. When these guys roll in there, Kevin, it is amazing to me how good they really are, because they figure them suckers out and they will smash them every time they go to Fork. I don't care how bad. Last year was 4 or 5 feet low.
Yeah.
And they still hit the century mark of 100 pounds. I'm like, it's just Lake Fork may be the best lake in the state of Texas right now based off what happened there this past week with Trey McKinney. They had the top 10 guys all hit the century mark of 100 pounds for all 4 days. I mean, that's never been done before. It's a first.
Right.
And Trey McKinney, a 19-year-old kid, I think he might have just finally got his high school diploma. He won it with 130.15 pounds. And he averaged, looks like here, probably 30 to 32 pounds a day. He had 33, 10, 30, and 33.10 again. That's just incredible to me. Tyler Rivette, he's a Louisiana boy. Mm-hmm. Tyler was second with 125.9 pounds. Justin Hamner, another young stick, was 124.10. He had a big 11-pounder on the final day that really jumped him up there. Tyler Williams was fourth with 124.9. Justin Atkins, finally a name people will recognize, was fifth, 117.12. Stetson Blaylock, another recognizable name, was sixth with 117.11. Wesley Gore was seventh with 115.9. Ben Milliken, the social media sensation angler, was eighth with 113.12. Kyle Patrick was ninth with 111.14, and round out top 10, Cooper Gallant, another young angler, was 10th with 100.7. So, just hats off. I mean, what do you say? It's just a great event for Lake Fork. Good exposure for the state of Texas as well, as anytime they go to Rayburn, Toledo Bend, Fork, it just doesn't seem to matter. They always seem to wreck them. So, but anyhow. All right.
Steve, this weekend, we want to make sure everybody's aware. Toledo Bend guys, we're always complaining, myself included, we're always complaining about needing more tournaments to fish. This weekend is your chance to show up, support these local tournaments. The Despino Steve, what is it for? The Despino
Children's Miracle Network.
Miracle Network tournament is this weekend. It is Saturday out of Cypress Bend. You can get signed up right now, outlawoutdoors.com. You can get signed up on the website. First place is $20,000, I believe.
20,000 guaranteed.
Yeah, first place, $20,000. Yes. I'm getting text messages here. And you
can also go. You can also go to DespinoTire.com to register as well.
Yes, Despino Tire and get registered. And then, so that is Saturday. Then, and that's no forward facing sonar. Right. Sunday, Outlaw Outdoors is doing the Battle of the Brands tournament on Toledo Bend out of Cypress Bend. So you can only use, and I'm reading here to make sure I get it right, lures manufactured by Bill Lewis Lures, Yamamoto, Big Bite Baits, Buckeye Lures, or Steel Shad.
Yeah.
So the only thing really there that none of those brands offer is a chatterbait. Other than that, pretty much everything else is covered.
Yeah.
So those are the brands. It's an hourly payout. First place every hour is $1,000. It's an hourly payout, big fish event. That is on Sunday. If you fish, now let me look at this to make sure I get this right. Randy Despino is putting up, well, I had it. Here we go. So he is $1,000 bonus to the angler that catches the biggest bass during the Battle of the Brands tournament on Sunday. That is also entered to fish the Fishing for a Cause tournament on Saturday. So if you fish both, the biggest bass weighed in by an angler that fishes both events is an extra $1,000 on Sunday.
Yeah. Hey, good job. Good job by Randy. Also coming up this weekend, the Brandon Belt Grand Slam, as we've already alluded to, March 7th through the 9th on Sam Rayburn out of Humphrey Pavilion. Then you've got the Bassmaster Open, number 3, will be headed for Santee Cooper, also March 7th through the 9th. And as we've already talked about, Despino Tire. Oh, the Trey Buford Memorial Tournament will be next weekend, March 16th on Toledo Bend out of San Miguel. So we've got something to look forward to there. And you know, Kevin, and we're not going to get into the details of this real quick, but maybe next show we will. The Red Crest is headed for Lay Lake, March 14th to the 17th, this next week. And, of course, kind of talking to Jacob Wheeler, had Jacob on, talked to Jacob last week. Our boy Dustin Cannell, he's kind of going to be the favorite. And every chance I think it's kind of his home water. So look for Dustin Cannell to have another great event there. And you got the Bassmaster Classic coming up on Grand Lake, Oklahoma, March 22nd, 24th. And the next Texas Team Trail, Triple T, will be on Rayburn, March 23rd. The next ABA Pro League for Louisiana Division is going to be on Bistineau, March 23rd out of State Park.
That same weekend, March 23rd, the Poches at Toledo Bend as well.
It's exactly right. And also on Major League Fishing Toyota Series, Toledo, they head for Toledo Bend, March 26th, 27th, and 28th. That's the weekend after Poche. So looking forward to seeing a lot of stuff going on, Kevin. A lot of, like you said, March is a great month for Toledo and Rayburn. If you can't find something to fish right now, you're just not looking, is all I can say. And a lot going on.
We're going to jump into this next week, but I think this is the Spino tournament. It's the Children's Miracle Network tournament. They always have a good turnout, but this is there's a story in this tournament. It's the no forward facing sonar.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of eyes on this tournament to what this is going to look like wise. This is going to be a story within this tournament we'll really jump into next week. Yeah,
absolutely. And as you've alluded to, a lot of eyes, a lot of people already wondering.
Nationwide eyes.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. We're not just talking locally. This has got some attention across the country. So, all right, Toledo Bend lake level. Right now it's at 170.19. It's a difference. It's down 1.81 feet. It's had a 10-day loss of 1.25 feet and a 24-hour loss of 1.2 inches. Rayburn is 161.08, difference of 3.32 feet low. 10-day loss, 2.24 feet. Yes, on the loss, and 24-hour loss, 2.88 inches. They're pulling that sucker hard, Kevin. And maybe they were anticipating this rain coming in. I don't know. I don't know if that was it or not. But as Wyatt referred to, they are working on a dam still, so that's probably the reason why they're still pulling it. And we heard all through the spring they may leave the water down on Rayburn for quite a while. So, but anyway, hopefully that won't affect our spawn too bad. Kevin, what else we got? I got one more thing. Guys, if you're looking, I've got a product here that I've started using about 3 or 4 years ago. And it's made by Spike It. And yes, it's dye, but it's a blade dye. And if you're a guy that likes to experiment and play with different blades and different things like that and colors, this is one I do. This is dipped in red. It's got the red blades on it. And I'm telling you right now, this dip and dye blade is called Electra Chrome Blade Dip. And it's made by Spike It. And it's a great product. And there's just a sample of kind of what it will do for changing the colors on your blades. Some people like a kicker blade to be orange. They make orange, chartreuse, every color you can think of, white. They got them all. And so if you're looking to experiment with spinner baits and looking for something to do a little bit different, add a little different flair, a different color, try that. I think you'll like it. So that's all I got. Kev, what you got?
That does it for me.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning us in. Please check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or however way you watch any podcast. If you'd like to become a member of our sponsorship team, please message us on our Facebook page, and Kevin will make sure he gets a packet out to you ASAP. For Kevin Jean, yours truly, Steve Graff. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week with more Tackle Talk Live.